If you're a leader, August will show you something you don't always want to see. Your team isn't off, they're unraveling. Not dramatically, not catastrophically, but relationally. And if you look closely, not at their performance and not at their output, but at their presence, you will see it. August is this month of transition where people stop showing up the way they normally do. Again, it's not because they don't care, it's not because they're disengaged, but because they're between identities. And when people are between identities, their connection shifts. So today, I want to hold up a mirror, not to your team, but to the relational field you're leading inside. So every team has a relational field. The emotional atmosphere that's created by how people show up, how people feel, how people connect, how people withdraw, how people pace themselves, how people read each other. And in August, that field becomes unstable. It's not broken, it's unstable. People start to become quieter, they slow down, they're more sensitive, they're less available. People are more internally focused and often less externally expressive. This is a transition, not resistance. August is the month where people's internal pace no longer matches the external demands, and the relational field reflects that mismatch. Unfortunately, leaders often misread August as disengagement, lack of motivation, emotional distance, inconsistency, irritability, withdrawal, or even checking out. But none of that is actually true. What you're seeing is a relational unraveling. It's the soft, subtle loosening of the identity that people used all summer. That summer self is starting to dissolve, but their fall self isn't quite ready yet. So they're stuck in the middle. And in the middle, it tends to look like emotional inconsistency, not because they're unstable, but because they're transitioning. Here's the part leaders don't always want to hear. Your team's unraveling is mirroring your own. So if you feel less patient, less present, less connected, less grounded, less available, less clear, your team will feel it too. Leaders set the relational tone, not through performance, but through presence. And in August, presence becomes harder to access, literally and figuratively, because your internal world starts to get louder and your relational presence then starts to get thinner. Your identity starts to get quieter. And so your emotional availability, well, it gets a bit patchy. And your team feels that. Again, this isn't because you're doing anything wrong. It's because you're human. August is a very, very human month. Now, connection has a specific pace. In summer, that pace is wide, it's loose, it's expansive. And in fall, the pace is structured, it's focused, it's directional. And August is this weird transition between the two. And transitions tend to create this relational friction. Now, your team, they aren't trying to purposely disconnect. Well, maybe some of them. But the reality is they're just simply trying to recalibrate. They're slowing down so that their nervous system can actually catch up. Maybe they don't even realize that. They're softening so that their identity can shift. Again, it might be something completely subconscious. They're withdrawing so that their internal world can reorganize. And if you rush them, well, they will disconnect. But if you pace with them, they will begin to stabilize. So August requires a relational pacing, not relational pressure. Well, what does this mean? What does your team need from you? Your team does not need motivation. Rah, rah, let's get this going. They don't need inspiration. They don't need a rallying cry. They need simple attunement. They need you to read the relational field accurately, and they need you to slow your pace so that they can match it. They need you to soften your tone so that they can settle. They need you to be present without pushing. They need you to lead from connection, not correction. Because August isn't a performance month, it is a recalibration month. And recalibration requires relational security. Your leadership identity is usually shifting too at this point. You're not that summer leader anymore, but you're also not the fall leader yet. You're somewhere in the middle. And in the middle, that's where relational leadership is born. Again, I'm going to tell you what it's not. It's not through strategy, it's not through frameworks, and it's not through directives. It is most distinctively through presence. Your team, they don't need the most impressive version of you in August. They need the most attuned version of you. That version that can read the room, that version that can feel the fields, the version that can pace with connection, that can lead through transition. So if your team feels off in August, it's not a problem. It's a mirror. They're unraveling because they're transitioning. They're quieter because they're recalibrating. They're inconsistent because they're between identities. So you as that leader need to lead them through the connection, lead them through the pacing, lead them through your presence. August isn't the month where your team starts to fall apart. It's the month where your team prepares to come back together, but differently. If this resonated, I would love for you to name one relational shift that you've noticed in your team this August. Just one. Now, it's not to diagnose them, but rather to attune to them. Your awareness is always the first step in stabilizing the relational field that you're leading. And on that note, I hope this was helpful.